I actually don't really think there are many other words to say beyond that. I think Abla has summarized these underlying issues beautifully. There really is this pressing need to give the Global South an equal voice, representation and inclusion in these institutional processes and that guide global agreements and policies. It makes sense, it's logical, and yet it's not happening. So we really call on all leaders, both the G20, as Abla mentioned, and the COP27 leaders that will be gathering soon, to take immediate action across these 4 recommendations that we've given, to really support the mobilization of catalytic finance to the Global South, to support capacity development, and mainstreaming decarbonization. We believe that this approach will enable the attraction of large-scale catalytic capital to help accelerate an equitable recovery and economic growth in the Global South. And it's in alignment with much of what we're seeing in the news. As Abla said, this is not rocket science, but we felt the need to put our voices behind this, because we believe in the importance of restructuring global power dynamics and radically accelerating the flow of catalytic finance into development, particularly into institutional development. And we assert the stalling of progress caused by global leadership crisis must be addressed at the upcoming G20 Leaders Summit, as well as in the run-up to COP27, to build the consensus and avoid duplication of efforts around these shared objectives. And with that, I would welcome anyone here today to reach out to us if these points resonate with you, if you'd like to continue to have conversation with the Global South Impact community. We all would feel very strongly about being as inclusive and as collaborative as possible. It's the only way we're going to be able to attack these issues. And so without further ado, I will open up the floor to questions. We have questions potentially online or in the audience. Abla, I will ask your help to see the audience if there's any questions coming through.
Are there any questions or comments from the audience on the recommendations that we have made? Dr. Hisham? Dr. Hisham Sharif, ex-minister of local development and a great player in the IT business and the environment world. Please go ahead.
Frankly, I don't have a question, but I have a comment. Okay. First of all, I want to thank you for an outstanding job that I've seen. This is this half day that I've attended is different from many days that we lived around. So well done, Abla. Well done, the distinguished teams that you have. I think you need to get the recommendation that you put forward with the same spirit, and to have an agenda surface, okay, and make sure that your voice is there. And today you have an extended supporters. I would like modestly to help whenever you feel that I can help. This is a great group, a great cause, very well structured, and being optimistic and positive. I see many of what you have done and many of the dreams that I know you have, Abla, and your other family of contributors gonna happen. We're gonna change this world. It's gonna be better. Okay? Just keep up. Keep the great work. Yeah, thank you.
That's exactly the objective of that group. In Bellagio, we stayed 5 days in a dream place, okay? And with the support of the Rockefeller Foundation, I didn't realize that during those 5 days we're going to come up with this incredible piece of work that has just been presented by our small group, but representing the whole 22 people that attended there. So thank you very, very much for your support, and we are definitely trying very hard to push it in the media, push it in the G20, push it in COP27. Tell everybody that we do need badly the paradigm shift, and along with it, all the suggestions that were made in dealing with the specific problems that we are in. Any other comments or questions on the floor? Please, Dr. Ahmed Dalal, the president of the American University in Cairo.
Thank you so much for this very interesting panel. You mentioned in your remarks that there was discussion within the group, within your group, of the obstacles and whether these recommendations were realistic or not. Do you care to elaborate a little bit of what these obstacles are and might be some of these obstacles and how to overcome them?
Maybe Dipal would like to talk about this.
Yeah, I can definitely. That's a great question. I think, none of the obstacles that we mapped out are unsurmountable. I think what is really needed is the leadership to really drive, for a more equitable world. And I think, that's where the real challenge is. And we see such a phenomenal opportunity because with the Egyptian leadership for COP27, if some of these recommendations are incorporated and leaders are going to be willing to act and also hold themselves accountable towards really ensuring that 1% of the global income goes to the global south, we will see change happen. We also have Professor Bang Bang with us, who's trying extremely hard from T20 to also see how some of these recommendations actually feature into the G20 communique. That's the hope. And, again, kind of really working with the leaders across the G20 nations to really be able to act, because the moment to act is now, and we really need that leadership where for the global south, also we've been given this phenomenal opportunity now to be able to express what we really need rather than to be told what we need to be doing. So I do feel like if we can continue, I think the obstacle or the opportunity I'd like to say is really getting senior leadership behind these recommendations. And even if a few countries commit, how do we really spread and make more and more leaders to become part of this and really be able to show the way that this is all possible. It is possible to get the finances in the right places at the right time because there's an urgent need. We really need to be all working towards creating universal opportunities to have a level playing field. So I guess I really want to be talking about the opportunities that we have, but I'll hand it over to the other colleagues from the Global South Impact community as well to kind of respond to this phenomenal question.
Anyone from the rest of the group would like to comment on answering that question, on the challenges?
I would like to come in to just add a few. I think that across everything, and particularly the recommendations that we have put in place, whether it comes to catalytic finance, to better representation and voice, to actual implementation of adaptation efforts, all of that are underpinned by capacities. I think is one of the big challenges that I think is the foundation, is one of the foundations that would enable the Global South to increase its voice, to be better represented at the places, even if we have the access, to have also the knowledge and the support and the articulate the points to be able to be effective, but also to access the resources, but also once resources are accessed, to be able to use them effectively. So I think really that part is overlooked in terms of funding. And this is why to address, it will be catalytic to all of the recommendations really to address also the issues of capacity building as a big challenge as well, I wanted to say. Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to add a little bit about the role of G20. I think we know that G20 should be perceived not as G7 plus 13, meaning that G20 should be totally different with G7, because in G20, the voice of the emerging economies should balance the voice of developed economies, and at the same time, of course, the voice of South should balance the voice of North. And that's the essence of the G20, because in G20, it is a forum that emphasizes on the consensus among all the members. So during our journey in T20 or Think Tank 20, from the beginning, we tried to work closely with every working group from the G20, both at finance and Sherpa track. And as a result, we understand that this is the era of the emerging economies of the G20, because Indonesia will be the president this year. Indonesia is a president this year and going to be followed by India, Brazil, and last South Africa. Meaning in the next 4 years, actually this is the period in which what Abla mentioned about kind of the new mainstream on the global economy should be really implemented. And we need to push quite hard about the needs to the new mainstream. So it means that the so-called Washington Consensus or the existing multilateral development banks, international financial institutions, should be more flexible and should adopt more the existence, for example, of catalytic finance and especially the philanthropic funding. Because for achieving SDG 2030, as well as our ambition of net zero emission, I don't think it's possible if the country or the state works alone. They need to get everybody to bring the ambition together. And one of the important part, again, is catalytic finance. So the role of leadership in pushing more catalytic finance or blended finance into the mainstream, I think will be critical for the success of our ambition in net zero emission as well as SDG 2030. Thank you.
Thank you. Uche? Back to you, Ali. If Uche doesn't want to.
Uche, did you want to say anything?
Not really. I think everything has been said, so I'll just pass it back to you, Ali.
Great, thank you. Okay, are there any other questions or comments from the audience, Abla?
No, not from the floor. Online, are there any hands raised? Do you see any hand raised? Because you can see, I cannot see.
I'm not seeing any hands raised online, no.
Okay. Perfect. This means that we made everything very clear. And this means that we made our point in the strongest way, and it will be implemented, and we'll keep after it. Okay. Actually, the session to follow, and I strongly encourage you, even though it's 5 a.m. where you are, Ali, everybody is in trouble because of the time. But the next session is going to be talking exactly about the proof for the fact that we need all these changes. Okay, what is happening now globally, the new sentiments about the climate, all those interesting things about coal is horrible, bad, don't use it, it's disgusting. And then now, well, it's not so bad. Really, we can get around it. This is what Germany is doing. So maybe, this shows it's a manifestation for the fact that these countries are simply after their interests and everything is calculated per their size. I guess what they don't see is that it's one climate for all, it's one health situation for all, and a place like Africa happens to be the lungs of the entire world. So if you don't pay attention to the poor, if you don't pay attention to this continent, if you don't pay attention to where forests are and stuff, then we are not going to go anywhere. Our time is up for this one. Ali, thank you so much. Dipali, thank you so much. Dr. Bembang, Uche, Mamadou, all my colleagues, thank you so much. And again, thanks to Rockefeller Foundation for supporting all this. And I look forward to seeing all of you in actually COP27, because most of these guys are going to be there, and we'll keep on pushing and pushing and hammering until something happens. We'll keep after. Thank you. Thank you all very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Abla.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.